Success Daily Podcast. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. I want to thank you guys for subscribing. We're blessed enough to have an interview with BCW's heavyweight champion, Adam Newsome. How you doing tonight, sir?
I am rolling, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. And how's it feel to be
Doing really good. It looks like, man. It looks like you're in Panama
Yeah.
City right now.
behind the beach? Yeah. How's it feel to be BCW's world heavyweight champion?
I'll tell you what, it's an absolute honor because I've crawled in between those ropes and battled some really, really tough dudes. And
The
anytime
question
you
is,
can leave.
where's the belt?
The belt is in a storage room right now with the ring and everything. After COVID put us down, everything had to go into this
I thought
room.
you had the belt with you. I was going to get you. Bring out your belt,
no.
man.
I would have. I would have wore it in here. I'd put it up. I'd put it on full display.
Yeah. I mean, dude, BCW puts on heck of shows. I've been to one event at Hyman Middle School back in 2013, 2014.
That was probably I was probably fighting MMA at that time. Yeah, I was doing MMA then. But you probably got to see Michael Jameson, one of my best friends. You probably got to see Eugene Waldo.
Tag team that was kind of like Zack Ryder.
I bet that was shoot. What was his name? I forgot. Those guys were before me. I did try to do my homework on them and stuff, but now BCW's been around a long time, dude. And Ken Cantrell is a wonderful promoter. He's always done me right, and I love working for him. I've went and done some other companies, worked for them, done some shows, but Ken is my favorite. It ain't even close.
Absolutely. And I know you was an MMA fighter as well. You said you did the Tough Man competition?
Yeah, I had actually how the Tough Man deal happened was, I told you a little bit earlier about the MMA reality show that I was supposed to have been on. So I was training and staying in shape for actually fighting local and just staying in shape and staying active and stuff until I was supposed to be on that show. And then the Tough Man, actually I won my first fight. It was my second actual fight, but leading up to that Tough Man contest, I fought a really good fighter, Michael Lawson, who was a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. And I've trained with Michael a lot and stuff, and he's really good on the ground. So I didn't want to go to the ground, and got fortunate enough to hit and get my punch off early and knocked him out. So the next time I was continue to stay in shape with a Tough Man and won in 30 seconds the first night. And then the next night in a war with a guy, man, and he was about 6'5", 6'6". He was a big dude. I was a better fighter, but he was tough to deal with. He was just a big guy. So I kept throwing overhands at him, trying to knock him out instead of going to the body like I should have. And the start of the third round, I threw an overhand and my shoulder popped out. So rough and rowdy, I got the semi as close as I came in it, which is the Tough Man. And that was a wild time. That atmosphere wasn't like your normal mixed martial arts event or nothing. It was local rap groups in the ring, and it was just a rowdy atmosphere. It was appropriately named. I'll say that.
Where was that at exactly? Pike County?
It was in Williamson Fieldhouse.
Oh yeah, I've heard of Williamson.
It's right after you pass Belfry. Yeah. You're just probably 5 miles from it.
Yeah, I mean that's a good accomplishment though that you did.
I grew up.
Your shoulder out of place.
Yeah, my shoulder. I've got a really bad shoulder, and the first one, I dislocated it when I was 16 boxing. We all used to. In high school, we would box in a parking lot. We had gloves. One of my best friends had 16 ounce and like 12 ounce, and we didn't know the difference at the time. So we'd just go in the parking lot. We'd all box, and threw my arm out trying to throwing haymakers because I didn't know how to throw a correct punch. So I've got really bad shoulders from that. Yeah. From throwing punches. I tore my bicep the other day too. My right one, I threw my left one training, so I don't have any biceps no more. They're both gone.
Yeah, I mean that sucks definitely, but I mean, dude, what your accomplishments are definitely impressive. I mean, you're gonna keep on wrestling for BCW and keep on hopefully being heavyweight champion.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody out there at the moment that can take that from me. If they do, then they're more of a man than I am. So I welcome them all. But I'm really looking forward to BCW starting back up. I've not heard much lately. You know, I just lost one of my best friends was my former manager, and he was a great personality in BCW. It was Mitch Colley, AJ Colley, as the fans knew him, and he was a heck of a talent, man. He was ahead of his time. He was great on a microphone, very, very intelligent storyline wise, angle wise, booking. He had a future ahead of him in independent wrestling or any kind of wrestling. He could have started his own company and been very successful. And he had passed away 2 days ago, and it's really, really, really bothered
Oh, 2 days ago, man. Wow,
me. Yeah,
that wasn't too. That
and it was
wasn't.
out of nowhere. It wasn't, it wasn't
Oh,
like a guy.
I think I might have heard of that. Prayers definitely goes out to his family and prayers
Like,
for you as well, man. And yeah, definitely R.I.P. to him, man. That sucks.
we appreciate it, man. We all do because it's a big loss. It is. There's about 4 or 5 of us has been really, really tight in BCW and some of my best friends in wrestling, and it's been we've been in contact the last few days, pretty constant. So it's been pretty tough. It's killed a lot of the desire.
Yeah, definitely understand that. I know you and a friend of the podcast who is a heck of a wrestler in his own right have had a couple battles. John Noble.
Man, let me tell you something about John Noble. He's a vicious cat, man, and he's the real deal too. The first match I ever had with John, I was a nervous wreck because of the respect I had for him. Number one, number two, he was built like a tank. I mean, he is stocky. I'm a big dude too, but he is. I mean, he's just one muscle, but he's real professional. John's real professional, and man, you talk about the chops. He will chop you like you've never been chopped before. I mean, the next morning I woke up, it's no joke, this was a shoot. The next morning I woke up, my chest had blood blisters all over it, man, from John's chops. But that's part of it. And I wouldn't rather have took them from anybody else. Well, I may have, I don't know. It was an honor. Share the ring with him. I shared the ring with him. Me and Michael Jameson wrestled Eddie Browning and John Noble at John M. Stumbo, my old school, in what was probably one of the biggest events in BCW history. It was a tribute show for a little girl that had lost her life in a car wreck, and you can check it out on YouTube. It's Michael Jameson and Adam Newsome versus something else, Eddie Browning and John Noble, and it was gosh, oh man, it was as good of a night as it could have been. Entertaining match. Crowd was on fire the whole match, and if you get a chance, check it out because it's up there for me. I mean, my old school, my 8th grade teacher, who I considered a mentor, one of my favorite guys in the world, announced me to the ring. It didn't get no better. Mitch, AJ, he made that was one of his first shows of being like the producer, and he did really good. It was a killer night.
That's awesome though, man. Have you ever fought Chance Profit? I know you've heard of him before.
Yeah, I know I didn't. I've worked a few shows with Chance Prophet,
He's been
and
on the podcast as well.
he's a really good guy. He's
Absolutely.
a good Christian man, and I've talked to him backstage. He's got such a wonderful character. I love his character, and I tried to talk to Ken a few times about bringing him in. I wanted to do a story. I actually wanted to do a storyline with him. I would love to have worked a match with him, but I wanted to do something storyline wise with him because I think it would have went really well.
Hopefully,
the way our
here soon you can.
Yeah, hopefully that would be awesome, man. But no, nothing but respect for Chance Prophet.
Absolutely, man. That guy's a class act. I mean, he's
He
fought for
sure
Impact
is.
too.
Oh, I'm telling you, man, he could have went. He could have done big things too.
Yeah. I mean, he did.
Still can.
Yeah, he still did. He did. He's had a pretty good career though, fighting for Impact and NWA.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, that's a heck. I mean, it's something to lay your head down at night and say, "Hey, I did that,"
Yeah,
and successful at it too.
yeah, a former NWA national heavyweight champion.
Gosh, that would be a dream come true, man. I'd love to hear that. Adam Newsome,
Yeah,
NWA heavyweight champ.
yeah. That would be
In the
awesome.
vein of Harley Race, Ric Flair, Terry Funk, now Adam Newsome.
Yeah, that would be awesome though, man. I mean, you never know, man. Maybe AEW will call.
Well, I mean, OVW's up and running right now, man, downstate. And they're doing big things right now. But I'm 36 years old. I'm a dad. I got an 11-year-old boy, and we stay busy. I'm always taking him to basketball or boxing or MMA he's into. He's always into something. So that's where I'm at right now and will always be. But in my younger days, I think I always, there ain't much that I think I could do. But I'm pretty confident that if I had got into professional wrestling at a younger age, that I believe I could have knocked some doors down. I'm pretty confident in that.
Yeah, I mean, we got some wrestlers from OVW who's fought in Impact. I mean, Brian Pillman Jr. fought in OVW. Now he's in
And
AEW.
Brian Pillman Jr., I got to know him before he even stepped in the ring because his dad's one of my biggest influences. The loose cannon. He was one of Brian Pillman. He's one of my biggest influences. I mean, when I first got into professional wrestling, my character was the ticking time bomb, and it was almost paying homage to the loose cannon. A lot of stuff that he did, I kind of tried to emulate, and it was, I mean, it got over, man. And so I started reaching out to Pillman Jr. and Pillman's sister, and Pillman's sister, Brian, the late Brian Pillman's sister, Linda. I've got to know her a little bit, and they've been nothing but sweethearts. And I talked to Brian before he went up to Lance Storm's Academy because that's where he went when he decided that he was going to become a wrestler. He went up to Lance Storm's Academy, and he didn't know how it was going to work for him. Now look at him. CM Punk comes back the other night on AEW, and he says that's one of the people he wants to work with is Brian Pillman Jr. So that's awesome for that cat.
Yeah, he seems like a really good guy too.
Well, he's got a charisma, man, about him too. I mean, his look is a lot like Flying Brian of the early '90s.
He looks just like his dad, honestly.
I mean, you go back to the late '80s, early '90s, and look at Brian Pillman. He looks just like his dad. I mean, it's wild. It really is, and he's very articulate. He's smart. So I think big things have happened for him, man.
Yeah, he's very athletic too, man. I mean, what they're doing with that. What is that name of that tag team?
Varsity Club.
Varsity
No,
Blondes, I
no,
believe.
Varsity Blonde. Yeah, the Varsity Club was Kevin Sullivan and Dr. Death and Mike Rotundo.
Wasn't
Was
Stone Cold Steve Austin and Brian Pillman called something Blondes in the
Hollywood Blondes.
Wow, they definitely stole that from that.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all.
No, not at all. That other guy has a lot of potential too. What's his name?
I can't remember what his name is. Partner. It ain't Leaf Garrett or shoot. What is it? Hey, I don't know. But I know who you're talking.
He's super tall. I mean, he's athletic as well. I mean, today's wrestling, you got to be athletic.
Yeah, today's wrestling to me has lost a lot of the. To me, it's more or less about spots as it is about going out there and telling a story. And that's one thing I was blessed to learn from Michael Jameson and Bart Batten and Kobe Carmichael and a lot of the guys that helped me along my way was to feel the crowd, not just plan up everything and then go out there and just flip around. I mean, go out there, feel the crowd, and go with what the moment has.
Yeah. What's the best advice that the owner of BCW or what's the best advice the owner of BCW's gave you, and what's the best advice that your manager gave you as well?
The best advice that Mikey gave me was to sell. I always learn to sell good. And I'm a bigger guy. I'm 6'2", 265, so I'm a pretty big dude. And a lot of big guys don't like to sell in the business. And I always enjoyed it, man. And I got to work a match with Ricky Morton, who is probably the greatest seller of all time. And to watch him, to watch him out there, and I take pride in that. That's one thing I take pride in. But now BCW's, that was from Mikey, BCW's owner and promoter, Ken. Ken had faith in me from day one, and he took care of me and pretty much held my hand along the way and told me I'll go as far as I wanted and want to go in that company. He had that much faith in me. He loved my character. He loved how outlandish I was and over the top. He told me one day, and I didn't really realize it because I always wanted to, like I was telling you earlier, when you get in the business, you have your mind set on doing one thing, but you don't realize that things change and you're better at what you thought you wanted than you are. And that I ended up, Ken came up to me and said, even when I was a heel, even when I was a bad guy, the crowd loved me. And he came up to me after a show and he said, you will be the biggest baby face, most popular over baby face this company's ever seen. And I said, I don't know about that. I don't know. He said, watch and see. And I've got a pretty good little following, man. I've been blessed with a lot of fans out there. But Bart Batten gave me a pretty cool compliment one time. Bart and his brother Brad wrestled the NWA, Smoky Mountain. They was down in Puerto Rico when the Bruiser Brody and those guys were at. John Noble trained John. Bart and Brad trained John. But Bart told me, he said, Adam, he said, you would have made it back in the day with us. You would have been there with us. So to me, that always stuck out. I always felt like, if I'd been born in the 60s and could have hung around in the 80s, I'd been all right, I believe.
Yeah. So who's your biggest influence in wrestling? Would it be Brian Pillman?
Brian Pillman is he's up there, but the biggest influence in my wrestling career and in life almost is I'm 36 years old and I still act like this dude. I mean, I'm an overgrown child, I guess, but Ravishing Rick Rude is my all-time. I mean, he's my go-to, man. Ever since I've been a small kid, Rick, I'd steal my mom and dad's bathrobes and wear them out to the trampoline. I kept a bathrobe in my locker at school. Would wear it around, emulating him. But he was, I've got fortunate enough also in the last year or so to make friends with his sisters on social media, and they're really nice women. And Kathy's a good Christian woman and always real positive on there, and she's always comments on my stuff. And Sherry, also his other sister. But Rick Rude, man, he was, and that was one thing I always said I wanted to be a heel because he never was a baby face. And boy, I was wrong. But Rude, he was number one. And then you had Pillman, that loose cannon character, really, really high up there also. And Scott Hall, the Great Muda.
Hall, definitely, man.
Scott Hall, actually, that's funny because my in-ring work is very similar to Scott. I'm a big guy that sells a lot of, the fall away slam. I use it, one of his setups. And a lot of his in-ring work, man, if you go back and watch him, he was one of the best ever. I mean, he sold brilliantly. Tully Blanchard's another one also, one of the original members of the Four Horsemen.
Absolutely.
I met Tully. He's one of my favorites, man. He could get heat. Like all my favorites are heels, really. I mean, that's why I guess the Human Horror movie, my current character, is a lot like, I guess, how Stone Cold was in the mid-90s. It's almost an anti-hero. Loose cannon. I mean, I ain't as crazy as I was as a heel, but bend the rules,
Oh, you're going to be in a movie, you said?
No, I hope. Why?
Oh, I know there's a horror movie going on around here in Eastern Kentucky. It's being filmed right now. I thought you was talking about using that.
Oh, no, that's my character, the Human Horror movie. I wish. Hey, if we can get in on that, we'd like that.
Yeah, I know people that's actually making that movie. I can get them in. I don't know if I can get them in contact with you or not. I'll text them and try to see.
What kind of movie is it? I mean, what's the premise?
Movie. I don't know. They just told me about it. Some horror movie. I have no clue what it's. I believe it's being filmed in Pike County.
There is. Hey, I know what you're talking about. I may have actually seen some behind the scenes stuff on that, to be honest. So yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah.
And I think it's already wrapped, if I ain't
Oh,
mistaken.
yeah. Well, then I guess
And I
there.
hope I wish those guys luck though, man. I hope that does really well.
Absolutely. I know you fought MMA everywhere, man. You said. I know.
Yeah, I trained MMA from the time I was
You want to
probably
tell us
not.
about that? I didn't mean to interrupt you. My bad.
You're fine, bub.
What was you saying though?
I started MMA training MMA when I was 19, and off and on for about 5 years until I made up my mind that I was really going to do it because it's something I fell in love with when I was 10 years old. I watched the second UFC ever, and from that moment I was hooked as a kid until right. I haven't been in. I mean, I watch the big fights and everything right now, but the last 2 or 3 years I've been in and out of it. But forever I stayed on top of things. Went to a few of the events in Ohio, but I decided I was going to do it because if I didn't, I'd regret it. And I did it. Had a pretty good little. I'm happy with the way things went. I won my first fight in 27 seconds, TKO, and then I won my second fight in 11 seconds by knockout. And I was getting ready to fight for the heavyweight title with Gladiator Fighting, and went weighed in. Well, it was Eddie Trotter and Anthony and them. That night, I went and weighed in and talked to Eddie. He was the promoter, and we talked. And me and Eddie got to be really good friends. And I wake up the next morning, fight day, and I have a bunch of text messages on my phone telling me to call him. And Les Stapleton, the mayor of Prestonsburg, he was the one I took a lot of. When he messaged me, I was like, man, I better get a hold of him. So I called him, and he said the fights are off. I was like, why? And then I thought somebody may have destroyed the cabins over at Jenny Wiley or something, and they canceled them. But Eddie Trotter passed away that morning. The promoter, the day of the fights, had passed away. So it all got canceled. And I'll just be honest with you, in my heart, I was 30 at the time, and I was getting injured in training more than the fights themselves. And I sit around and thought about it. My little boy was getting older, and to train for a fight, to really train and be serious, you need to train 5 days a week. I mean, no less than that. You need to train for 3 months. And every day I got off work, I worked real job. I get off work and go train for 3 or 4 hours. And, you have a kid that ain't to a 3-year-old, you don't want to miss it. So I said, believe I'll move on from it. And that was when it didn't take long. I wanted to stay busy doing something. And that was when the wrestling bug hit me, which I'd always been bit by it, but just never pulled the trigger on actually doing it. And I did. I ended up doing it.
I mean, you're BCW's champion now, and that's a pretty historical wrestling company around here.
Well, I mean, you look at the list of BCW champs, and they're all who's who. The guys that's won that belt have all been the top dudes. So it's a real big honor to have done it 3 times, and not only win the heavyweight, but I've won the heritage title, I've won the tag titles, I've won the King of the Bluegrass Battle Royal. So when it comes to BCW, I've been there, seen it, and done it. And so I tell all that. I've been training a kid that's 19, and he's got a really good future if he wants to be. His name's Josh Williams, and he loves the MMA. He loves pro wrestling. I see a lot of myself. Like, he's really hungry for it. He's a young guy. He's got the persona for it. And I tell him, man, every chance I get, I say, man, pay your dues, put the ring up, take the ring down, and you will just follow what somebody needs help there, help them, and the sky's the limit for you. So, and you want to see young talent because I don't plan on wrestling forever. So you want guys to be able to come in to entertain that crowd after you're gone, so you can go check in on them and see them be successful.
Yeah, man. Hopefully we can get back to more wrestling events for sure. I know the only Has BCW had a show since COVID or?
Nope. Nope. We haven't had anything, man. Last match I had was against Arliss Bray at the Paintsville Rec Center, and it was a good one too. We had a good match. And little did I know that was it, buddy. That's been a year and gosh, it's been almost close to 2 years, I guess.
Was that February of 2020 or March of 2020? I know March is when COVID really got here.
I think it was January or February, because it was right before March. March was when they started like shutting everything down. I mean, I was off work for a long time. So I want to say it was February, because it hit all at once, the panic and everything. I mean, it's worse right now than it has been as far as hospitalizations and death and everything. It was just so new at the time too that everybody was freaked out, and rightfully so.
Yeah. I mean, it's really scary right now for sure, man. And the vaccine, do you get the vaccine? No, I'm fully vaccinated, but I won't get on that topic.
I got vaccinated as soon as I could. If they got a booster shot and walk in his house right now, I'll bend over and let them give it to me in a high
man. The booster shot, I don't know about you. Well, I got to do some more research on before it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same stuff as the first 2 shots, though. So I'll probably will.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, man, I've seen some people I know die recently of it. I know some young dudes that's in the hospital right now fighting for their life that I personally know. And a couple of them's told me, wish I'd got that shot if I'd had it do over. And that's all. I mean,
you've had people that died of COVID tell you that before they died?
No, I've had people that's had COVID really bad. See, I had it back in November, but I've had guys as of recent as yesterday, because I called a few guys I know and checked up on them, and they're like, I wish I'd got that shot, because their wife got it and she had COVID and the symptoms were nothing compared to the way this dude's feeling, man. And I feel really bad for him right now. He's battled it for 19, 20 days.
Wow. Definitely.
Yeah, and he's a younger guy, man. He's younger, in shape. He don't smoke, don't drink, takes good care of himself. Wow. And he's really no, he's in his early 40s, I think.
Oh, yeah. The reason I was asking, because I'm in my early 20s. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah.
I mean, a person don't know how it's going to affect them, man. And it's like, I don't know. It's controversial to talk about and everything. And I'm blown away sometimes with some of the stuff I read on social media and stuff. And,
yeah.
But, me and my family's been vaccinated, and that's all. We felt like it was our best decision, and we did it. And,
yeah. Everybody
I'm not going to
do whatever they want to do with it, I guess.
That's it, man. I'm not going to.
They should have the right to do whatever they want to with it.
I'm not going to say you shouldn't or you should or anything like that. It's up to you, but I know what I'll do.
Yeah, because there has been people die. Oh, I can't even say that because YouTube will take my video down. I'm not going to say that. I'll say it anyway. There's been people die of the vaccine, Johnson & Johnson.
I actually watched Joe Rogan's show, and he had some big medical expert on there talking about that the other day, and she said it was a real rare case or something, but she talked to it about like the flu shot or something. I don't know, but
all I gotta say is if I was not fully vaccinated already, I wouldn't. Johnson & Johnson was around then whenever I got back fully vaccinated in May. I took Moderna.
That's what I got, Moderna.
April and May is when I took the shots, and never once did I think about getting the Johnson & Johnson shots. All I'm gonna say. Anyway,
no, I didn't either. I honestly thought when they said it was one shot, I thought that was odd, and everything I've heard is Pfizer and Moderna. Everybody that's had success, not had bad symptoms or not even had it yet. So most of those people took Moderna or Pfizer.
Yeah. This is the thing about Success Daily Podcast. We end up talking about anything.
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, I'm down. I talk everything. Man, I work with some characters. We talk about everything.
Talk about Bigfoot. We can talk about UFOs. Hey, have you ever seen a UFO?
Have you ever seen Bigfoot flying a UFO?
No. I've seen a UFO, though.
Oh yeah, I've always I thought I've spotted a few, but I don't know. I'll
I've
tell you
seen
what's wild is do you know anything about Frozen down in Breathitt County? I mean, are you familiar with that?
at a haunted place. I
Do
think
some
I
research on that, man.
think
That'd
I've
be
heard
something right.
I think I've heard that's a pretty haunted place.
We went down. That was one of me and my wife's first dates years ago,
God, I don't think I would.
and
I don't think that would be one of my favorite places to go on a first date.
well, she was a. That's a story for another day. It's funny, but here's the crazy thing: when we got there, we accidentally locked our keys in the vehicle.
Oh God.
Yeah, so there's a huge story that goes behind that. All my closest relatives, they love to hear that one. But we, the thing with Frozen was, I can't remember when it was. You'll have to, I mean, I'd have to really refresh my mind on that. But they were given a tornado warning, I think, and it was like like a church school deal. I won't say orphanage or something, but a lot of kids were down there, and they had different housing and stuff like that. Well, they gave a tornado warning, so everybody went down in the basement. Right, turned out a flash flood came while they were downstairs and drowned. Everybody drowned, man. And they say a lot of paranormal stuff happened there. I took my niece and her boyfriend and my little boy. We went down there back in the summer just to see if it's still around, and they had tore everything down and done like dozer work. And but now when we went down in 2004, I guess it was 2004, 2005, they still had everything up. It was vandalized and everything, but you can get on there and research it. It ain't hard to find out any information about it. It's wild to read about.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Definitely do not want to go there.
Well, it's if you, I think you would dig it. I think if you went to Waverly Hills and stuff,
Oh,
you
I've
would
never
like
been
to.
to Waverly. I've been to the Cynthiana Theater, which is very haunted.
I always wanted to go to the Bobby Mackey's. They say it's
Oh
pretty
no,
wild.
no, no! I don't want to go to Bobby Mackey's. I know people who've been there. No, no,
One of my best friends went there, and he said it was an odd feeling. He said it was a different kind of feeling. But now
it's
I
not
went
a
to
ghost feeling there. What I've heard, I'm not even gonna say that word. It's demonic, is what I hear.
yeah, I heard it was well, they supposedly like a Satanist group or something went there in the basement of that place. And some,
They
but
did.
you'll hear anything, you
It's
know.
it's actually facts. They did. They did.
Oh, really?
They cut off a woman's head and threw it in the well. It actually happened. They arrested them and everything. It actually happened back in the early 1900s.
Gosh, oh, that bar was up and running then.
It wasn't a bar then. It ain't the bar part. It's of the
The
what is that?
basement.
Something like that. Yeah. I don't know, dude. That place. Anyways.
Change the subject. Next question, please.
Yeah. Next question. Nah, dude, that place is crazy though. I mean, there's a lot of haunted places here in Kentucky for sure. I mean, ain't there? Well, not this ain't even about ghosts. This is about UFOs. Have you ever heard about the CSX train crash? That
How
supposedly that
long ago was
crashed
that?
into a UFO. I believe the early 2000s. I believe 2001, 2002 in Prestonsburg
Really?
or Paintsville or Prestonsburg, one of them.
Gosh, oh, that sounds awesome.
And if you want to hear about that, go listen to Hear the True Bubblegum. Go listen.
Here that
They're friends of the podcast. They have talked about it on Here to Chew Bubblegum before, and yeah,
So how did that? I mean, how did they get? How did they explain that?
I believe that it pretty much just went hush hush. Yeah,
Buddy, I tell you what, it's wild, ain't it?
yeah. That's just a it's a good there's some people that I know that have done some documentary work there, and they couldn't get nobody to talk to them. But there was this one person who was friends with an old maintenance worker there, who said that he did see UFOs and stuff like that. There did see the UFO and stuff,
I
but
tell you, man.
he wouldn't come talk, and now he's unfortunately dead, and he would have been the only person that would have come forward to. So
Uh,
so I guess it's a pretty much nobody will ever
Closed case, and
they already got. There is a file number on the case though, because Here to Chew Bubblegum called CSX, and they had to have a password for that thing. CSX acted a little weird, I believe, on that phone call.
well, that's a good one. I'm gonna check that out, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Here,
This is stuff I talk about as well here on the not CSX, but I do talk about like other. I talk about UFOs. Just had a UFO witness on 2 witnesses last Thursday.
I tell you what. Have you ever had an encounter with one?
Yes.
Me too. It was 1998, and it was
That's
about
the year I was born.
Listen to this. It gets crazy, man. It was about April 14th, I think it was.
Well, that was
And
before I was born a little bit.
well, we were in Pikeville, and there was this festival going on. And we walked down. There was a place where the movies were. You know, where the movies are in Pikeville.
You know the crazy thing is, dude, Here to Chew Bubblegum, Bart has had some. He's not on Here to. He is the paranormal trucker. Who that's a friend of the podcast too. Bart, I didn't mean to say his name. The paranormal trucker. My bad. Paranormal trucker. The paranormal trucker seen a UFO somewhere in Pike County.
Well, this one here was called the Gravitron, and it was the hillbilly days. And if you went inside of it, you leaned against the wall, and it was a ride. Still to this day, that ride is up there. So, pretty cool deal. That's my experience with a UFO.
Did it look like to you? What do you exactly see?
Well, there was a man sitting in the middle of it playing AC/DC. Who made who? So.
Oh, it's a joke. I got you, man. Yeah. My bad.
I was one.
Yeah, my bad.
But hey, listen, it was called the Gravitron. It was based on a UFO, so
yeah,
that's my UFO story.
Yeah. I wasn't paying attention right there. My bad. But yeah, dude, I've actually seen a UFO though, man. It's definitely it's a creepy experience. It's a great experience though, man. Seeing a UFO.
Do you think aliens fly, or do you think it's government?
Some UFOs is government aircrafts. Some of them are.
Do you believe that there's extraterrestrials on some of them?
Yeah.
What do you think they favor? What do you think they look like? Do you think they look like the Martians on TV? Do you think they're?
That's a question that only people that's been abducted can really answer. To be honest with you.
Have you seen Fire in the Sky?
What is that?
Oh, you haven't seen Fire in the Sky?
No
joke. It's a really good movie. It's based on a true story of a guy that got abducted by a UFO, and he's been on. I mean, he does interviews and stuff about it. I can't remember his name, but the movie scared me to death as a kid. It's this dude. Like, if you go to YouTube and search it up, I can't remember his name, but Fire in the Sky, and he gives a really in-depth. I mean, he's pretty believable. I mean, his tone and everything it's a wild movie. You need to watch it if you like UFO stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's killer.
Absolutely, man. UFOs is pretty cool stuff. I've seen one before. I was in a swimming pool when I was 10 years old, and there's literally just a flying object with red lights, and I only seen it for about 2 or 3 seconds, and boom, it flew, man.
I've always been infatuated with them, man. And Loch Ness Monster, I was always
It was like a little dish thing. Like, you know how not the new like dish things, the dish satellites, not like the new ones, the old
80s.
ones. Yes. It looked
Everybody
like
had
that.
them in their backyard.
It looked like that, but instead of being white, it was gray.
We had one of those satellite dishes, and I think everybody tried to take them once that satellite went down. I think everybody turned them into like little ponds, landscape ponds.
But yeah, dude, it went really fast, man. That was my only encounter with a UFO. I mean, I've seen some like light stuff in the sky like move fast, but I'm pretty sure most of the light stuff in the sky is more than likely satellites.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of satellites in the sky, which, I mean, it's untelling what's out there. Me and my brother talk about it. My brother's actually, I asked him that question a few days ago. He's a real deep person too, man. He's pretty deep. And he said, Adam, the universe is so big. He said, I mean, the way he described, he's like, the universe is so big that it's something else. There's other things.
Have you actually heard of Dog Man before?
Dog man, I worked with one of them. No, I haven't heard of it. Give me the lowdown.
It's supposed to be like a werewolf, like from the werewolf movie, like half man and half dog and stuff. And I'm actually supposed to have the biggest researcher in the dog man world on Monday. He's
Grant
been on
Newsome is dog man at Cheviana maintenance lot.
He's the biggest researcher in dog man world. He's been on History Channel, Discovery Channel, Animal Planet, all them, man. And yeah, man.
There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of it's untelling, like river monsters. You watch that show, there's stuff they pull out of them rivers and stuff that we don't even know are out there, wild looking things.
There was one fish on there that they caught on there that was supposed to be extinct, I believe.
Well, you see a lot of crazy. I mean, they catch a lot of stuff. I mean, it looks prehistoric and stuff like that. I mean, it's closest thing to dinosaurs, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I know you also commentate football games and stuff for Betsy Lane, I believe, Betsy Lane High School.
Yeah, Bobcat Sports Live. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I know a friend of the podcast is mine and your biggest influence for sure. Joe Rogan's my biggest influence for podcasting. Mike Goldberg is also an influence. What is Mike Goldberg? How has he inspired you?
Well, a lot of I had an entertaining aspect to my commentary. My commentary for Betsy Lane Sports is not your run of the mill, old, normal. I want to add a little bit of excitement to it.
Yeah. And did you ever think someone from Eastern Kentucky would actually know Mike Goldberg?
No, I mean, I never really. I didn't think about that, but now I do. I know Seth Amberg, who is really good buddies with Mike Goldberg. So, but anyways, as far as my commentating style goes, a lot of it is based a lot on Mike Goldberg's and Joe Rogan's commentary of the UFC fights.
Absolutely.
Mike Goldberg would get really excited, man, and I miss him in the UFC.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons.
Yeah, him and Joe Rogan. Well, Joe's still there, but Joe, like I know him on a first name basis.
Yeah.
But Mike Goldberg was the coolest. I liked him, man, and a lot of my stuff I steal phrases from him, and I've had a blast. I love doing it. It's fun. It's and these kids love it. That's the main thing. Absolutely. And the parents and grandparents that can't come to the games, they get to tune in free and watch it. And it's something that started out on a cell phone, and it's grew. I've got sponsors now, big local businesses.
You do it yourself?
Oh yeah, I do it myself now. It's all me and an iPad and an iPhone. So, which I've got guys that help me, but I'm the one. It was Thomas Rainey. He had all kinds of equipment stuff. He helped me, but his son transferred schools, so obviously I think he's working with somebody else right now. But which we're still. I mean, I did the football games, and a phone is as good. I mean, it's good to have that high tech equipment, but as long as you got the personality there, man, people want to hear and see. It's all. And as long as the picture's clear and you've got people that you want to listen to, that's the main thing.
Absolutely, man. I mean, Mike Goldberg is one of the most humble people you'll find, man. He's an absolute great guy. I mean, it's definitely humbling. But I mean, being from Eastern Kentucky, dude, you never think you're going to be able to talk to people like Mike Goldberg, Kid Cash. I mean, Kid Cash is one of my inspirations in wrestling.
Yeah,
I'm also I'm a big wrestling nerd. I mean, that's why I get excited interviewing wrestlers, man, and MMA fighters and stuff, man.
Dude, I mean, it's a killer. Like I said, I'm 36 years old. If something was to happen tomorrow, I'd be able to say I did that. I tried it, and that's what I try to tell my boy too, because he likes the fight game and he boxes here and he's wanting to get into, trains his hind end off to be 11 years old. He really does. I spar with him, and I don't take it easy on him. And we were having a pretty tough little sparring session the other day, and he was getting frustrated because he was getting jabbed. He was getting jabbed, and I seen him stop, and about tears come to his eyes. And I said, "Dude, listen." I said, "If you're going to be a fighter, and I think you're pretty good at it, but you got to learn to control your emotions out there, because if somebody sees that in a ring or in a cage or something, if they see you're that tore up, they will pick you apart, man. So you got to control your emotions."
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'm just picking up stuff that I've learned from some of the best guys. Josh Stepp, I take him down to East Kentucky Combat Club. I take my little boy down there, and he does MMA and striking with them. And then I take him down to Top Notch Boxing down in Louisville. And they're amazing, man, with boxing down there. It's like a different culture in the city of Louisville. I mean, it's different than anything around here as far as that goes. But I mean, that's what we do as a family, really. We study. I mean, he lays in bed and studies old boxing, old MMA.
Wow.
And you see behind me. I mean, that's
Yeah, all in awesome. Yeah, I mean, dude, you teach giving him that advice and stuff. I mean, he's not. That means he ain't gonna show his emotions when he gets older in the ring and stuff. So that's helping him out even more. I mean, sky's
well,
the limit, man.
I'm an emotional person, really. I mean, I'm pretty, like, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and it's easier said than done. I guess I'm not the one out there. You know, he's a kid. I mean, he's still a baby. He's 11
Yeah,
years
yeah.
old.
I mean, when
But
he
he's
gets
real. I mean,
adult and stuff, though, he probably like when I mean people like idiots like Jake Paul and stuff will say
well,
anything in
even
the world to people.
I train kids down here. I do weightlifting and some boxing stuff and some MMA, some basic things to keep them in shape and keep local kids. And it's been a real big blessing, and I've had a blast doing it. And he helps me out. My little boy helps me out a lot because he
That's awesome, man.
knows how to do mitt work. I mean, I think he's going to do real good things in that,
Yeah.
because watching
Hopefully, he
him
can
with
knock
kids
out
his
Jake
age.
Paul too.
Well, I place money on him right now. I would
Jake
place
Paul.
money.
Jake
Yeah.
Paul. Anybody that
Jake,
can knock, anybody that can. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, but anybody that can beat up Jake Paul needs to get in the ring with.
did you see where Vitor Belfort's supposed to fight Evander Holyfield now because Oscar De La Hoya tested positive for COVID virus?
I didn't see that.
That happened today. So
Doesn't Anderson Silva fight? Who does he fight in that co-main event? He fights.
Tito Ortiz.
Yes, he's a legend too, man. Them two right there are legends.
I met Anderson Silva in Columbus and got a stare down picture with him. And this was right after he won. I mean, it's been 06, right when he won. Well, he had won the middleweight title in October from Rich Franklin, and that was in March. So he had defended it once, but he was relatively new to UFC, and he was such a nice guy, man.
Yeah. Have you ever met Kobe Covington though?
No. The newer group of guys, I really ain't met many of them. I go to the Arnold Classic every other year or something, but COVID's had it shut down, and all the fighters are there. I've met a lot of good fight. Rich Franklin, heck of a dude, man. Matt Hughes, solid guy. Just met Randy. That's where I met Randy Couture at. He's my all-time favorite athlete. I mean, he's my favorite fighter. Such a cool dude too.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That you got something signed by him and stuff. Did you you never met Mike Goldberg though, have you?
No.
Oh, I didn't
Never
know if
did.
he was at one of them signings or not because he's actually from Cincinnati. That's a
Yeah. No. The Arnold Classic usually takes place in Columbus.
I was meaning like you said you've been to UFC events in Cincinnati.
Yeah. I watched Franklin Silva too there.
Yeah. I figured he might have been at a meet and greet where it's his hometown and stuff.
He was there. I was probably 150 feet from him, I would say, but I didn't get to meet him or nothing.
Oh man, you should have hollered at him. I mean, every fan that asks for an autograph and picture, he takes pictures with them and signs their autograph.
Well, that's a stand-up celebrity right there, man.
Absolutely. And I know he's going to be on the podcast. It's looking more like November. I know he's very busy with BYB Extreme bare knuckle fighting. He's busy.
Yeah.
He's a very busy guy, but definitely plan on having him on in November if he has some free time, or heck, whenever he has free time, he'll definitely be on. I mean, that guy right there is a heck of an interview, and I mean, he's just a heck of a dude. You should
Well, I
check
tell
out
you what.
BYB. They're really good.
Yeah. Yeah, Ken Shamrock's actually starting a bare knuckle company also. And I'd seen today where Chuck Liddell was thinking about coming out of retirement to fight in one. Excuse me.
Like Jake Paul.
And Randy Couture said that he didn't want to see Chuck come out because they're really good friends. And he said that he didn't want to see him get hit in the head no more because he's had so many concussions and stuff. And he said he would support him in either way, but he didn't want to see him get hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's what people. That's another question. What is the hardest that you've ever hit somebody in the MMA? In the MMA.
The hardest I had ever hit anybody in that fight in a fight was when I caught Michael Lawson after a leg kick and his hands were down, and it was just perfect. I mean, it was just perfect placement, and I got very lucky and fortunate. But the hardest I'd ever been hit was in training against, I want to say it was Mitchell Lawson hit me, and he's probably 170 pounds, and I was probably 210 at the time. And he's a heavy hitter, man, to be that smaller guy, and he can take a punch too. And we were sparring, and when we sparred, man, we went pretty hard. Shouldn't do that. We didn't have headgear on or anything, but he hit me, and it was the first time that I think it was a flash knockout because I was out for a brief moment and seen a lot of lights, and then I come right back through, and it was the hardest I'd ever been hit.
Wow. But you've never been knocked out in a fight, have you?
No, knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Oh, you're going to fight some more fights, or are you retired?
Buddy, I went over, like I said, we went to watch Jacob Lemaster, who's going to be on your show from EKCC, good friend of ours. And we went over and watched his fight at West Virginia at New Line Cage Fighting. And I would be lying if I sit here and said I didn't get the itch again. And for a brief moment, I thought about it. About a week, I thought about it. And my wife said, no, absolutely not. You ain't doing it. And then I woke up the next morning and my shoulders were hurting and my elbow was hurting and my back was hurting. I said, she's probably right. Best not even to entertain that thought. But once you do it and you love it, man, it's hard. You'll always think, do I got one more in me? Do I think, I mean, I'm 36. I take good care of myself. I think I'm pretty knowledgeable. I mean, obviously there's a lot more knowledgeable people than me about the fight game, but I think I could still do good. I think I could still compete with some of those guys I've seen over there, but probably best just to let sleeping dogs lie, I guess, as they say.
Stick to wrestling.
Well, wrestling, I haven't got to wrestle in a while. I do miss it, but right now, calling these ball games for these kids and working these kids out, boxing a little bit with these kids coming down here and doing mitt work with them. And got a really cool deal here. I've been real fortunate.
You know a bunch of wrestlers, don't you?
Yeah.
You and BCW, have BCW ever thought about recording just wrestling without fans and putting it on television or something?
I don't really know, to be honest. I think that protocols and everything had it going on that I've not really talked to Ken about that lately. Last I heard is something about the license deal where COVID hit. He had to have them do some kind of paperwork or something. I'm not sure. I'm waiting on a phone call is all I can do. I'm just waiting for them to say, come defend your title, man.
Have you thought about having like a virtual wrestling thing yourself?
I don't think. I mean,
But people
there's a
can
lot.
buy tickets to it, man. Like, I mean, here with the virtual Zoom concert, they've been doing pretty well.
Yeah, they're so much, man, that goes into that. Like, you would have to buy a ring, have to be licensed. You'd have to get guys to be licensed. You'd have to get your licensed wrestler. There's a lot of it, people's talked about it stuff. There's to be a wrestling promoter, man, you've got to have a lot of time that you can
Yeah,
dedicate to it.
absolutely.
And I don't. And I've thought about it, even I was joking with my wife, not really joking, but I was talking with her the other night, and I was kind of like, man, I'd love to have an MMA company. But one of my good friends had Gruesome, and Gruesome MMA. That was where I fought my first one, and I mean, it was tough on him. He had Jamie Varner come fight too. He was supposed to fight. He fought in the UFC and everything. And we went and cut weight or not cut weight. We weighed in together, and he ended up having to pull out the next day over something. So it's stressful. I mean, obviously, it's real stressful. So
Yeah, that's for
you gotta
sure.
have a lot of money to make money too.
Yeah, I think I'll just stick to hosting virtual Zoom concerts every now and then.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. Don't blame you at all on that.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, dude. The virtual Zoom concerts are pretty awesome, though, man. I mean, I expect things to be shut down here soon. I expect that's how we're going to be able to enjoy concerts, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. From everything I've told, everything that's going on, I've been hearing some rumblings about sports and schools and stuff like that. So it's
Yeah,
looking like everybody around Floyd County shut down at the moment. So that can only lead to think that Floyd County is next to be shut down on everything. So
yeah. I say the whole entire state will be, which I'm,
yeah,
yeah, unfortunately. But I mean, if COVID's getting that bad, then it should be.
yeah. I mean, like I said, we talked a little bit earlier about that. It's real bad right now, man.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. Hopefully, we can still have, even if there ain't no fans in the stands, but they should still be able to. They could still have football games and stuff. I mean, I guess, without fans. I mean, it actually did pretty good in the NFL last year without. There was most of the stadiums didn't have fans.
Yeah, it did. I just think I don't know. I can't tell you, man, to be completely honest, but the whole deal, that's something that is beyond my realm of thinking.
But
The
yeah,
whole COVID deal.
yeah, COVID is definitely. I've had doctor on that's running for Congress and stuff, and he definitely encourages everybody to get their vaccine. So.
That's what they say, man. And if a doctor, will tell me that, then he knows more than I do.
Yeah, and he said if you don't get your vaccine, though, the next best thing is to take vitamins.
Yeah, yeah. Which I should. I mean, they're good to take anyway.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, the flu's still going around. There's still the flu. There's still other things going around.
I
You
think I
still there?
lost you there for a minute.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
lost you. Your camera went off for a little bit.
Yeah, my battery's about to die. I believe, my man.
Oh yeah, man. Is there anything you got upcoming? Where can this is the most important. This is the most important thing you probably got upcoming with far as events and stuff. I know the active thing you're doing is with your what's it called?
Bobcat Sports Live. You can like it on Facebook. We do the Betsy Lane sports. We do basketball, some volleyball, some baseball. Basketball is our forte, our main forte, but we do football, and we're having a really good time. Are you there? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my phone. But anyways, Bobcat Sports Live, like it on Facebook. Watch us. We have a good time. Bears Den training facility. If you want to get in shape, if you want to learn a little bit of basic boxing, a little bit of basic MMA, message me. We work something out on that. You can check out videos and everything. And that's about it, my man. Really, what all I've got going on right now.
Yeah. So so your next event's next Friday with the football.
Next Friday night at Betsy Lane. Yeah, I can't remember who it is we play, but I think Jordan Case is going to help me out on that one, help call it. We're pretty pumped about it, excited. Betsy Lane was thrashing East Ridge earlier. I was really glad to see that. But we're really pumped though, and make sure you tune in, Seth. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. I'll try to if I ain't got no. I think I got an interview scheduled for that.
Mike Goldberg may be calling in at night.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to get Mike Goldberg to call you?
Yeah, tell him to help me call a game on Zoom.
Oh yeah. He might. Dude, he's a heck of a dude. He might actually do it. Yeah.
It's been an honor and a pleasure, my man. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. I want to thank Adam Newsome, BCW's heavyweight champion, for being on. I want to thank you guys for subscribing. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. You all have a good night, and God